What up, everybody? Man, Doc, have you missed the bueno? Have you missed the
I've
bueno
missed
of it all, man?
it. I definitely have
Yeah.
missed it.
I have missed you guys immensely. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the South Star Classroom. I am your co-host, Omar Yanar, and with me, the beard of knowledge, the beard of wisdom, the beard of music, the beard of all things magical,
The
man,
beard.
Mr. David Castillo, man. How you feeling today, brother?
I'm good. Good to have you back. Um, and let's see. Yeah, everything's cool, man. I'm looking forward to watching the Super Bowl this Sunday. I'm only going to watch the
Yeah.
halftime show because
Oh,
it's Bad Bunny, and I hope that Bad Bunny wears a
I'm
dress
baboon.
just to upset all these men out there that are uncomfortable with their masculinity.
This is absolutely correct. And everybody who's upset that this is my favorite, that a quote un-American, like when you get someone who American, I was like, man, you need to read a book. Last time I
Exactly.
checked, Puerto Rico was part of the United States for quite some time.
Yep.
Quite some time. And with us always, the doc, the doctor, the man who brought us all together, man, kind of our fearless leader, Dr. Charles Cole the Third. Brother, how are you feeling?
Oh man, I get these headaches sometime, man. So
Uh-oh.
well, I'm in the middle of one, but it's okay. I took some of yesterday off. Got some stuff to do. I'm good though, man. I'm blessed. I'm happy to be here with you all. And yeah, this is now we're in busy season. We in Grammys just kicked off, so it's Grammys and
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
Bowl, Oscars. It's about to be a lot of Hollywood elites talking to us. It's about to be a lot of statements made. We're gonna see though, man. We're gonna see how these things go. I'm looking forward to Super Bowl too, David. I'm interested to see how everything plays out. And yeah, man. And I'm happy to see y'all. Welcome back,
Mm.
Omar. I said I was gonna do this in the thing. We missed you, but you know we was really mad about. We was like, this was supposed to be the perfect slot to insert Omar's rants.
Yeah.
Mm.
And there
He's
was
your
nothing.
rant.
Because I was gone. Yeah, man.
But
Rains
you
are
being
coming.
gone is the best time. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the best. Do that thing. Now I'm gonna stop because I don't want to take up too much time and I want us to get into the show. But we said it last week. I said I'm gonna bring it up when you back. So
I love it. I love it, man. Well, I am back in a position to actually do those things. You would think like, well, you're gone. Very busy, lots of things going on with the school professionally, um, personally, and then a little bit of time off, man. A little bit of much needed time off, um, which has been a rare gift for me, which I appreciate. It's usually like, yeah, you're off, but
right, what's that?
I'm always working, always on. Uh, Good to see Bill coming out in full force. We love you, Bill.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
last comment on that, just so appreciative to have this medium, have this show. I heard the last shows went super well. I would love to hear a lot more on the Minnesota thing because shit's heating up big time and protests are out. And before I get started with the show, I got to tell you that, as you said, Doc, celebrities coming out and providing their commentary always makes me think of Dave Chappelle and his stand-up, who's like, why the hell does MTV have news? Why are we asking celebrities what's going on in this world? We're gonna 9/11 happened, the towers are down. Let's check in with Ja Rule to see how Ja Rule feels about such things.
What does Ja Rule think about this? Where's Ja Rule at a time like
Where's
this?
Ja Rule at a time like this? So when you were like, we got celebrity commentary, that's about where I'm at right now. Speaking of which, speaking of things that are so neurologically silly and mentally silly, like asking for Ja Rule's opinion on world events, beyond the man's ability for music, this show, ladies and gentlemen, is a bit of a pet project. It's something that has been, I think, on all three of our minds and Jubilee's as well for a very long time, which is one stop to the next, which is, all right, we had this whole COVID thing happened, ladies and gentlemen, and we were promised the rocket ships. We were promised things would change. We were promised that education would take a huge leap forward and things would really magnificently shift towards student-centered learning, and we realized that things were not going well. Well, unfortunately, what COVID really predicated was let's just put kids in front of screens and see how things go for their learning. Well, there have been a lot of cognitive studies and neurological studies since COVID on both how kids are doing neurologically in general, how kids are doing neurologically as a result of the advent of technology, and how are things going. Well, a reputable source, one of my favorites, Stanford University, who has an incredible research program and ed school, amongst, by the way, a ton of other organizations have done this these studies independently. I found out that for since we've been studying cognitive increase, doctor, and you've probably studied this a shitload, you are a doctor, for God's sakes. By the way, I just want to compliment you on that kick-ass sweater.
Thank you, brother. It's like $20 off the internet. I got you. I'll get you a link.
It's badass, man. Hook me up. Since the late 1800s, we've been studying the cognitive state of Homo sapiens. Have our, quote, abilities, skill sets, and intelligence grow over time. And what we have found is that generation after generation after generation, intelligence, gentlemen, has increased. Cognitive ability has increased. Hell, Carol Dweck out of Stanford has talked about IQ increasing with increased rigor and increased risk. That's the growth mindset that people talk about a ton. You like the hair, Bill? Awesome. One thing that we have found in these studies, and I would say we as educators who follow such things, but them, the researchers who have done the hard work, is that sadly, Generation Z is the first generation on record since the late 1800s to have a lesser and slower cognitive increase than the previous generation. Meaning our hope for our kids is that they're smarter, they're better, they're faster. For our biological children, for us as educators, truly our kids as students, are they going to be better? Are there our hope, right? Like, I believe that children are the future. Thank you. Sexual chocolate. We want our kids to be super smart and significantly better than us. And what we have found is this last generation tested, because Alpha hasn't been fully tested yet. Z has been fully tested. It's the first generation to have demonstrated cognitive decline. And you may wonder, what is the result of that? How, Omar? How in the world could this happen? Sadly, gentlemen, the quick answer is the advent of technology. And ultimately, what has happened is technology has started to, I think, the beautiful, the radiant, the queen of our show, ladies and gentlemen, Jubilee Ransom, has descended on the place. Queen to be.
You gotta get to the point.
Don't sing the rest. Oh, let it. Just don't do it. I know you're about to. Go ahead,
so
you just made Charles right, and I'm not happy about that, Omar. You know, I am happy about that because he was like, "Oh, he's always complimenting Jubilee, especially when he's got I forget. It was something negative and positive. You know,
it wasn't negative at all. It wasn't negative at all.
No, you said something about he uses that when he.
I said what I've learned from Omar. And the way to kind of do the temp down with Miss Jubilee Ransom is you can completely disarm her with the right compliment at the right moment.
Right.
She can't not smile. She can't not take it. It's just a way to win the arguments, brother. That's all. We just learned it. I learned that from you. Oh, when we had that y'all had that dust up, and I was like, but she's beautiful. And she was like, you're the greatest of all time, Omar. It's okay. I love it.
Right.
My
Anyway,
screen is flickering. I'm gonna go off a video for a second, but I'm here.
gotcha.
Yeah, Jubilee, we've checked in. How have you been? Because
Listen, I've been
we-
great. We went out of school. Today was day 7, I think, of school being closed because of what people are calling Snowmageddon. And you know what? Tomorrow they're opening for the first time. You know, the district's trying to figure it out. And that's that. But we were home last week, and blessed be
Wow.
the name of the Lord, because I needed some extra time anyway to do some things. So it's all good. Thank you for asking.
Well, praise be that the kid's back to school. Glad to see you. Missed you immensely.
Miss you.
And yeah, man, we should do a whole show on Snowmageddon and the ramifications of what happens when the entire infrastructure shuts down for a week.
Right. And also, this was not the blizzard of 1996 that we had in New York. So
Right.
it's a little surprising, but it just goes to show how different regions, you know, are able to handle it. And the ice people just weren't ready for that. Right? In New York, when you hear that, you shovel during the snow, you salt during the snow, and then you stop when the snow stops.
Right.
You've done the work. But
So my takeaway is that the ice people in general across the board just suck.
Suck.
that's it, right? If you
Pretty
are
solid.
ice, you
Pretty
suck.
solid joke.
That part. Yes.
Not to be confused with Arnold Schwarzenegger's depiction of Dr. Freeze, which was so fucking bad that it comes around and becomes great again.
Well, right. We want them to disappear.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes.
Indeed, man. And we will keep you all updated on everything going on there, because there's a lot happening with ICE, the revolts, citizens finally standing up. In fact, and maybe this is a show for another time, Doc and I should get into this, and this is a bit of an aside, but interesting news out of Texas, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you may have heard of it. There is a county called Tarrant County outside of Fort Worth. It is arguably considered to be one of the most conservative counties in the country. And David, I don't know if you heard about this, man. You'd be excited. There was a special election for a state senator that had to happen at the end of the year, or excuse me, at the end of January. And the results were in, and this is a county that voted, if I remember my numbers correctly, about 17 to 21 points up for Trump. I mean, just wildly conservative, man, just wildly. Just flipped. In that special election, they elected a Democrat, first time in like generations, to that seat, and not by a slim margin, but literally also by about 17 points. And we'll have to, Doc, you and I will have to go into the examination of it. Same with David. We're all political junkies here. But talking about ICE, talking about the current circumstances in this country, that was an interesting bellwether, because then the conservatives just like jammed into Tarrant County. Ken Paxton did, and a bunch of like conservative state senators. Ken Paxton is the ultra conservative attorney general of Texas. Who's,
if I was a teacher right now, I would say, Omar, I definitely appreciate the information that you're bringing forward, but let's keep the main thing the main thing.
Yes. And if I was a student, I would say, I've got to go to the restroom.
Yeah. And David, I love that you did it, because I'm always producing. Go ahead. There you go, David. This is he's me. Like, yeah. And the show topic is what now? I love
it. People are waiting. We've got greatness ahead.
We do have greatness. Yeah. Well, I'm going to jam into this. Hey, we usually spend 15 minutes just on check-ins, Doc. We're already well into the show right now.
And
man.
Who hates check-ins?
Jubilee hates it.
Who hates check-in because there's 10 minutes lost airtime we won't get back.
So
But
back
do
on
people feel
topic.
connected? That's the point. Do you feel connected? Do you feel respected?
We-
Okay, that's the
230
Here we go.
shows. I think we connected.
Here we
Good.
go.
But
good.
hey, that was
I just hear
actually
radical left buzzwords. Yeah.
that's funny, man, because that actually is apropos to this episode, is that the lack of connection, the lack of coming together that technology has brought on in the classroom has actually been a variable on the cognitive descent of these kids, which is a very, very, like, I think, overly articulated way to say humans learn from other humans. We learn from things like sharing and talking and being with one another. Reading is a huge thing. This show constantly harps on literacy and reading and like, if you want to call it old school reading, just pinchy reading. So what has happened is that it's not just Stanford that's demonstrated these results. People across the country have been running their own independent studies, and they found the exact same shit. Gen Z has had cognitive decline and is not as smart as the previous generation in terms of skill sets, cognitive abilities, IQ, neurological abilities, like all these things that we would constitute as cognitive growth, your brain growing and developing. And what they've realized is that technology is really at the center of it. So we've got some questions coming up. However, I want to make sure that we're jumping in and just saying, hey, is this something that you're all like, I knew it? Or are you surprised, maybe like our audience is, to hear that technology has actually had the adverse effect that we've thought it to have in terms of increasing intelligence?
Yeah, I'll get out the way. I mean, I think it's always a both and, right? Every major technological advance has had both, right? There's been a major disruptor, and there's always been massive fear around it that's justified, but it also moves us forward in a lot of ways, right? TV was the idiot box. Before then, radio. People were worried about that. People were worried about when the telephone became like a device that was out there, right? Like, you have to adjust. And with these new bits of technology, the same thing that happens every time is certain industries will die off, certain ones will be built, will be born. And if you get caught in the middle of that and don't really, have a plan, it could leave you behind. But I say all that to say, we are getting a lot dumber in a lot of different ways. That's with and without this new technology. And at the same time, it's going to also allow us to do a lot more things. Like, if we utilize it the right way, we could shift some things, So I see it as a both and. But yes, cognitive decline, I absolutely see it. I think this is already the ADHD generation, and that's not an age thing. I think all of us have it. I know I have those traits now of needing those dopamine hits. But I have so much access to new knowledge and technologies and things that I can do. When we get a handle on it, we'll be computing and moving things a lot quicker, but you need the basics.
Yeah. And I know we've talked about that, about radio and stuff. This is getting kind of crazy. David?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely, I think, so leading up, I'm just talking about like schools in particular, not anything with technology outside of school and the home, but, schools were like, there was definitely like this big ramp up within education, for like technology in schools, ed tech, education technologies. And then there was like this kind of reckoning before COVID, and it kind of like people became more, focused on like social justice and racial justice. And then COVID happens, and then by necessity, like, we needed technology, right, to continue an semblance of maintaining any kind of like instruction. And I think that was needed. We were not prepared for it. And I think I've been surprised post-COVID to see how much people big school districts have continued to rely on technology. I think some of it's good. I think the one-to-one Chromebook for every kid is like, I don't know if I still support that. There's some value for kids carrying like literature, not books, but maybe readers for history and for English. I know it costs more money. Kids also aren't writing anymore. They're not like doing writing. So like, I mean, they're typing, maybe able to like process information, but when you actually like handwrite something, when you're actually writing, it works at a different part of your brain.
Right.
That's like scientifically proven. So, I mean, I think there's definitely a place for technology. I think we've kind of like, I think the pendulum has gone too far. And I think it'll eventually reset. But I'm also seeing these like trends online. I think you guys have seen them too. Maybe not. It's interesting to see like young people, taking up like reading books again. There's like young people on TikTok like reading books and talking about books, right? Kai Cenat is a huge streamer, and he's kind of taken a break from being in the limelight on YouTube, and like he's reading, he's like educating himself, right, and taking people along the journey. So I don't know, maybe there's something here around this like new organic movement of young people that are like, yeah, we want to read books, and reading books is cool, right? I don't know. So
we got some trolls today, but just for the trolls, have fun with us. But if I think you're a troll, you will be blocked and removed. Continue. I'm sorry, somebody accused you of doing cocaine before the show, David. I don't think that that's true. I'm just saying, don't come for my people. It's some weird trolls we got today. So if y'all see me bending over on this computer, I have to play the police. Y'all continue. I ain't want y'all to be like, what is he doing? I'm banning people. I am banning them.
Okay. Fuck around and find out. Jubilee, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a really interesting topic, especially because I get to see it in my daily work, but also in my household.
You're right.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I said right. Like you've got students that are going through this right now.
Absolutely. So the first thing that comes to mind, just as like a potential deficiency, but like Charles, I'm gonna just keep quoting Charles all day today. So like, he's always like, "Oh, you never pick a side; they're always both and." Because I always believe, like, if you're growing away from something, then you're growing towards something else. Right. So if you're becoming deficient in one thing, it is possible that you are becoming proficient in something else. Right. If you lose one of your senses, and suddenly you cannot see, God forbid, you then begin to heavily rely on your hearing. Right. So it's like you have a deficiency in one place, but then you rely on something else. And so I think that for any sort of iteration, for any sort of thing that we're talking about in society, in our world, yes, you're stepping away from something, growing away from something, but absolutely growing into something else and becoming proficient in something else. So I think that is true for this generation. And I think in terms of deficiency, one of the things I miss is just like the ability that we all had in like previous generations to do like deep work, So, and I think that kind of deep work comes through, the use of the Socratic method, reading a dense text, of Mice and Men, and like going from cover to cover and trying to figure out all the nuances and answering those questions and like not trying to get to the cliff notes. I think that that piece is missing. And I'm asking my sons, like, do y'all be reading books in school? It's like, and I might do this before the end of the school year, because I just really am curious as to like, what does reading instruction really look like now? Like, are y'all giving these kids these little articles and stuff, like the cliff notes, and then trying to have deep conversation? Like, when's the last time you read a book from cover to cover? And then when you stumbled upon the words in the book, you looked them up, right? And try to use them in your conversation so that now it's stored in your memory. So like, that is one of my biggest concerns. And I think also when, these children or young adults or adolescents are learning now, it's like their brain is always scanning for new information. And so where is that stored? It's like, it's not stored anywhere, because you're on to the next. And so I watched the short form video, right? 30 seconds. Oh, snap. Is that what eagles do? I didn't know eagles do that. And then you're off and now you're looking at something with Drewski. And now you're off and you're looking at, oh my God, I'm just so curious about how do you build a house in Egypt? And the brain is just scanning and moving and scanning and moving. And it's not committing anything to memory because there's so much information, so much to dig through that I think this generation is like, they don't remember things. They don't have deep knowledge of things unless they become highly interested in it. And then they might end up needing that deep knowledge because they're trying to work on a specific thing that is going to help them A, take over the world, or B, make money. At least in my household, that's when I find it. Like my son, my youngest, started doing day trading. I was like, why? He's like hours focused on day trading, watching videos, joined some club. He's listening to YouTube videos. He's reading stuff. And it's like, I'm focused on day trading, you know? Now, is that going to be the truth in 4 weeks? I don't know. Is he going to remember the information? I hope so. But I think that's one of the deficiencies, just so much information, not enough deep work, and not enough synthesis so that it shifts from just this fleeting thought or this fleeting thing that I'm reading to something that's now committed to memory that I can recall in other scenarios and apply to other situations. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, from what I heard, there's good back and forth about, well, things change. And as one thing comes in, another thing leaves. I think my worry in particular and personally is that as I see students struggling, like people already struggle with just the basic concepts of critical thought. Right? We talked about that a ton. Can you critically think while you're watching the news? Can you critically think when you're gathering a piece of information? Can you ask yourself, is this source real? Is this trying to persuade me of something? Is this trying to convince me of something? And who's actually behind this source? This is getting into, I think, another realm for me of students and children not only being unable to exercise some of that critical thought, but having some of those skill sets collapse. And I was just having this conversation with a really good friend of mine. He owns a few dental clinics, and he and I were just talking about management and some of the things that we do when we're talking with folks in hiring. And he's like, honestly, Omar, yes, clearly we're looking at skill sets, but one of the major things that we just ask and look for in any of the candidates, particularly that are like working with kids, is, can you carry a conversation? Can you ask questions? Can you listen? Can you be honed in, kind of like you talked about, Jubilee, that deep work, just the deep work of listening to one another and then diving in without looking at the phone, without being perplexed. And I was agreeing with him because I think that the ability for younger folks to engage in conversation has been something I honestly can't believe in. It's just not even existent. And while they can engage in a conversation on the phone and type away, that ability to commit eye contact and be in person is something that I am witnessing decline. And thus why these studies are demonstrating, yeah, it's not just that. There's a ton of other cognitive processes. So I think that the three of you all alluded very well to the first question, which is essentially pros and cons, guys. How has technology helped build some benefits in education? But what do you see as some of the drawbacks in education as a result of this advent of technology? And I got my own opinions.
I was gonna say, I want to go after David because I heard some stuff he said in the first one, which I agree with. And so in this, I'll double click after.
I mean, I think I definitely think there are certain applications of technology in the educational setting that can increase the efficiency and even like the workload of teachers. So I'm thinking about things like, you know, like mini quizzes, right? That you can give digitally and students can like respond to, and boom, teacher doesn't have to like grade any of that, right? The information comes right back to them. Certain kinds of homework, I think too, certain kinds of classwork. You know, I'm thinking more like math or like quiz, like multiple choice, or even like open response stuff. I mean, there's some powerful tools now where, you know, students can like do practice, you know, in a number of different subjects on you know, on digital platforms. But I think it has to be a mix of like, you're going to do this in a digital space, and then we're going to actually get out some pencil and paper, and we're going to work it out together, right? Maybe in a group. I think on the assessment side, there's an application for technology. You know, I've used it in my classroom, but I always like, you know, I would do you know, quizzes and or tests that were like multiple choice for history, right? And one of the cool things about like technology is like I could have two of you sitting next to each other with the same quiz but numbered differently, right? So you couldn't like cheat off of one another, right? But you still get the data back instantaneously. But then there would be a separate writing section that I would grade as a teacher, right? Because I didn't have to do all of the grading. I just took up that like smaller part where I was looking for comprehension. But long story short, good quality teaching has to come from human beings. And that's the one thing that technology is never going to be able to replace. I think technology is good like around the edges, but I think the core of it, there's nothing that will ever, you know, I think, you know, improve the level of a great teacher to facilitate instruction and learning and engagement and dialogue in a classroom. And that's it, you know, but you can work around the edges for sure. Yeah, and I think that was the big problem with COVID, was like the teacher was on a screen.
Yeah.
You couldn't see what the kids were doing, how they're responding. Their cameras are on, their cameras are off. I mean, it was just a bad setup. But you know, I would think now we should really be leaning, and it goes back to reinforce what we've talked about all along, is the need to really respect the professionalism of teaching and education and professional development, and equipping our educators to do you know, high quality work with students.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I was going to jump. I write a refusal, Jew, before I jumped in. Do you want to go or you want to go after?
Go for it.
Got you. You pondered that a lot. It's very simple.
I was trying to find a mute button.
It's all good. But I agree with David, and I don't think we're saying too much differently. I'm gonna start by saying comedians have figured this out faster than schools have. You lock the fucking phones up, like they're bags. Lock them up, and you have these bags that you can unlock your stuff if you need it. Like every event I go to now, they have these bags, and schools are starting to adopt it. But I think it's just like when we were younger, and when the special calculators came out, sometimes they're away, and then the teacher rolls all that stuff out, like your guys are about to do this. I think that there's a few cognitive things that can happen in schools. You talk about the ways that it gotten better. Bill mentioned something around personalized tutoring sessions. Like there's a ton you can actually do with ChatGPT. There's a ton you can do with an iPad around doing long division now. And now there's programs actually just in Apple period. It recognizes your handwriting and can walk you through steps, or, you know, finish and show the steps in your handwriting. That's good for a young person that's trying to figure that stuff out. There are moments where what you're just going to have to do is have a paper and pen classroom. You know, there's no technology. There's no ChatGPT. We're going to write. We're giving you the paper, or we using the blue books, and you just going to write, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z. But I also think you do push the technology. I think if you ask young people, with all this horsepower between Claude or ChatGPT or this thing, what more can you do? Like what's the bigger thing that can happen with this? I think that you actually, I don't think it's going to be the adults right now that are going to tell us the best way to utilize the new technology. It's going to be these young people in trial and error. Like we're gonna see, right? They're always innovate. So I agree with you, David. I'm just saying, there are ways that we can start to prepare them, but you have to have moments where they can't look at a phone, they can't look at a screen.
Yeah.
You have to make young people actually interact with each other. That's one of the bigger things of school that going to school in the building is losing. And it's the interaction. Remember a long time ago, the homeschool kid was the weird kid, and they would say why? Because he's not socialized. Well, now the whole school's not socialized.
Right.
So I think we got bigger issues that we can start solving for if we become more intentional.
Think about that, Dave. What do you think about the homeschool kid?
Homeschool kid got a better life. Homeschool kid is probably going to blow the in-school kid out of the water.
Right, and that's the homeschool kid now. That's what I was saying. Like
that's what we're saying.
Yeah. 20 years ago, we were afraid of the homeschool kid because they didn't feel like they were socialized. Now nobody's socialized, and the homeschool kid's doing well. I just didn't want to. I love homeschools. That's why I didn't want to seem like I was coming off against them. I just think they figured something out. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I'm with you all, and I think it's a little hard to implement some of these strategies that I'm thinking of, like the old school. Get the kids out of the seats, 4 corners. You stand there. So if you agree with this, stand there. If you don't, stand there. Right, like those old school engagement strategies. I think those folks that are in classrooms now, I'm not talking about the OGs because the OGs would know that, but these new folks, like for example, in my district, we had an inflood of federal workers, former federal workers who never went to school for teaching at all. Right. And so they are relying on whatever their skill set is, or, whatever they're used to doing, which usually is the overuse of technology. Right. So I think like my brain goes back to teacher prep and making sure that we don't lose those really authentic ways and engaging ways of learning that have nothing to do with technology. Like I think they can still work. And I think I do think we need to, draw a line so that the use of technology doesn't shift from being a tool to being just kind of be all end all in every single content area for every single reason. You got it for attendance, for behavior, for discipline, for grading, for assessment, for tracking, and it's just like, why are we using this for everything, right? Like I've gone into classrooms where there is a human in the room, but they're not doing the human work. They're allowing the computer to do all the work, right? And so I think that it's important for us as the educators and kind of to gatekeep a little bit so that we don't go all the way to the other side of using technology for every little thing. I think grassroots stuff still works. Some of the old school stuff still works, where you're literally just working to get kids talking, engaging, connecting, critically thinking, making inferences and doing the deep work. All is not lost, but I do think it would take a lot of work on our part as the educator to draw the line for how far we're going to use technology. I know that the speed of everything is going faster. And so technology helps us feel like we can keep up with all the many demands of the work. But I think if you are planned and the questions you're going to ask, you can do that without technology and really find yourself in a really interesting conversation with students without even having to use technology for it.
Yeah, man. Let me answer a question that's going to back up what Jubilee said. And sadly, this individual has made too many bad jokes. And there was, I think a joke was made of like, what is a human being? And I'd like to answer that question because I think it's actually apropos to this conversation for our boy Just Jokes. A human being in today's context is a Homo sapien that has had relatively about 3 million years on the planet in terms of our cognitive abilities. A Homo sapien is a bipedal individual who has surpassed most other species in their ability to do one thing exceptionally well: communicate. Our ability to communicate and work together is a contingent factor on our ability to increase our skill sets and rapidly expand our brain and our neurological components. So, Jubilee, when you talk about like the old school stuff, shit, the old school stuff is backed up by 3 million years of evolution. And those screens back in the day wasn't, all of this inability to interact with one another. And for me, I actually just had this recent conversation with someone being like, look, like you can talk all day long across a screen. However, there are very different neurological pins that fire when you are actually physically with other people, when you're actually physically communicating, because we are beings who need that level of proximity with one another. And like, I love this show immensely and I love seeing you all, but there's nothing like being in the room with you, Jude. Nothing. And that level of connection that we have and that level of understanding that we have with one another. And that is what kids are not getting, because you said it best. I'm just repeating what you said. This is kind of what pisses me off about the whole technological thing. It's as if people have no idea how kids learn and just want to use technology to do everything. And like David brought up some great points. Like I would have died as a teacher to have Google Classroom and have, all of the homework instantaneously graded and data coming back to me. Would have I relied on that for every single activity? Like, it's absolutely not. I want kids reading. I want kids writing with their hand. I want them discussing. I want them debating. I want them interacting, which is something that we all did in all of our classrooms. But the fact that people think like technology is going to solve everything. And Doc, I'm with you that yes, technologies have been invented, but I would say, man, this is totally something different. This ain't just television. This ain't just radio. This is something that, like you said, man, we got to get those dopamine hits. It's capturing the attention so much that it is totally rewiring, like you said, neurologically, like our abilities to focus and do things. And just the last thing, as a superintendent, I have to constantly go through technologies. What's being used in the classroom, what's being used in our school district, what are we buying? And I got to tell you, most of the shit out there is fucking garbage. And like, that would have been a great rant for me to record. And perhaps I record this rant to discuss my feelings on this shit house charlatanism of educational technology and all these companies being like, this is the best. It's going to make your kids the best. It's like they're promising Steve Austin, the what was it? The $3 million man. Not my boy Stone Cold.
$6 million man.
The $6 million man. Thank you. They're promising
that man's worth in half, brother.
Esther. Well, I cut the amount of money they put into them in half. The fictional shit. But like all these ad companies, they are full of shit. Their product can't do a quarter of what I ask them to do. I'm like, can it do adaptive? Can it cycle through with the kids? Can it keep up with all these things? And they're like, yes. Then we work it out and we're like, no, it doesn't. Y'all full of shit. And it's because they're pumping out something that thinks this is going to work. Because once again, we all think technology has come to save us. And really, I think Doc said it best. We need to save each other in this respect. And technology ain't going to save a damn thing.
Yeah. Omar, I think today is the best example of why you got to do rants, bro. You have to do rants because we just going to get the rant. So you got to do the rants so you can have it and you can go off and we can brand it. No, man, I do enjoy this conversation, though. And I think, I want to make sure I'm speaking to these parents that are watching and things too, man. Just you can sit down and make your kids read. You can sit with them or teach them how to use technology. Listen, when your kids learn how to drive, you got to teach them the difference between this is a Jetta or a Volvo and this is a Mustang. You do different things with these, right? Like the same way a parent is terrified as shit of their kids getting behind the wheel of a car, but they know that they're going to have to. You try to teach them to be a responsible defensive driver. So how are we thinking about these things in technology? How do you earn your way up to being able to utilize AIs and that and this, that, and the third? And I also think that we keep talking about kids and students. These teachers that are new, that are 5 years older than these students, are coming up in this same thing. You have to reteach them, because I think that there's some technology, the technology that I think is the best for classrooms, and this is just me, people can disagree. It ain't real if you can't get me the overhead projector with the blank, the clear pieces on there and getting on there and doing that. And like, that's the best way I learn math. I don't think a smart board is better than that. And I think, you know what I'm saying? I think that you have to use the right tool for the right task. And if you start trying to use a hammer, if technology is just hammered, then everything's going to start looking like a nail. Some shit needs a screwdriver. Some things need a hammer. Some things need something else. And I think, but how are we raising our teachers? And I think David has always talked about this. He's always talked about ed schools and schools that are training teachers, and they wasn't training them how to teach before all of this technological revolution stuff. I would venture, I would dare to venture that it's probably gotten worse. I'll let David and you comment to that, Omar. But I think also what Jube was talking about, I just know Jube as a hands-on, wants to be relational, wants to build those things. If that's the case, you can't let technology get in the way with that. If technology is not helping to facilitate that more, then it has to go. This is basic management stuff. I have a team. We have I'll land the plane here, Jude. We have a dashboard. And when they're trying to make decisions and prioritize, I say, well, go back to the dashboard. If what you're doing isn't directly moving the dashboard forward, then it's not the right thing. So what's the standards, right? And so that's what I thought. But go ahead, Jube. I didn't mean to cut into what you were saying.
No, just no, that was good. Just adding struggle, the importance of struggle. I think that is what we need from generation to generation, right? When I go into a classroom, or even if I'm watching a principal do a PD, or anybody who I'm coaching, either you're leading the teachers or you're leading the students, whoever you're leading, I'm looking at how you're leading. I'm looking at how you're teaching. And one of the key things I look for is struggle time. That's what the OGs used to call it, struggle time, productive struggle.
I like that. Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that the technology is going to keep technologying. And so we don't have control over that. They're going to invent something that might blink for us in the next 15 years. I don't know. But if we teach our educators, our leaders, our students how to engage in productive struggle without running, I think we will hit a gold mine, because I think that's the difference. Case in point, right? I take my kids' cell phone sometimes. You didn't do your chores on time, or you ain't come home on time, or whatever it is.
Take the keys to the studio, baby. Take them.
Right. Even though now my mom was like, well, you need to also hide your car keys, because Sydney passed his permit test a couple of weeks ago, so he's about to be driving. But I take the phones away. Right. And so I think they had to go somewhere. But anyway, the point is, when I'm like, yo, why you didn't tell me you were leaving the house? Well, you took our phones. It's like they're trying to punish me for taking their phones. I said, Jubilee Ransom grew up using a rotary phone, okay? And when you had to dial the number, missed one thing, you had to start over, okay? Well, we didn't have call waiting, where if you call somebody and they on the phone, you ain't finna get to whoever your little boyfriend, girlfriend in 3 hours till their grandmother hang up the phone or she finished watching her. Okay, so you're not going to try to punish me. I said, here, you got a pen, you got a paper. And so I started telling them, like, no, there's ways around this. Technology is not as stable as we think it is. Yes, there have been blackouts. There will be blackouts. There is unavailability sometimes. You got to know how to struggle and still get to whatever point you're getting to. Get a little pen, get a little paper. Dear mom, we went to the gym. Leave it on the countertop so I can see it when I get inside, right? Like, start problem solving and thinking about different ways to create solutions, and don't be on the side of technology. It's like, oh, I'm just such a victim. Our Wi-Fi is out. I'm like, boy, please. So I think the struggle time, same thing in the classroom, right? Yes, okay, you're going to use calculators, but if I'm a planned teacher and I went through a dope teacher prep program, or as a leader or principal, and I went through a dope leadership development program, then I know the importance of letting people just struggle to figure stuff out. Go read this, go read that. Fine, you're using technology, but I'm not going to give you the answer, and I'm not going to take away the space that you need to try to process and really grapple with this idea, critically think, and come up with a solution. I think if we hold on to that, then we'll be okay no matter what the hell the technology does.
Omar, I just want to just give both David and Jude props for how evolved they both are as parents, because there were like 2 or 3 things that her kids said to her, and in my mind, I felt myself getting the shit slapped out of me.
That's exactly correct. That is exactly
the
correct. Yes,
shit slapped out of me. Like I didn't what? I'm sorry. I took your phone. I'm done. David and Jude, the Lord has truly blessed y'all, because I felt like I just got my ass beat twice. I'm done.
You ain't even heard that.
I wouldn't call that trauma. I would call that rearing, but you know. But I just was interested in that.
It's a tough world out here in teenage land. I'm just saying.
That's when it's worse. What you mean, teenage land? That's when. I'm sorry. What did you say? Oh, you want to go out? I have a dad. You want to go out into the yard? That's what. That's. You just said F me. That's how my dad would talk. Oh, so it's F me, Dad. I would never say. Oh, you just said F me. That's what you just said.
Speak up.
Yeah, man, that's some Happy Gilmore shit right there. It's like, you want some freedom? Here we go. Here's a rake, here's a shovel. I need you to go outside and take care of these leaves. I need you to mow this lawn. I need you to clean this house. And it's just like, here are your options. You can either do that.
I want to grow up with David and Jubilee. I want to do it again with David and Jubilee as my parents and see where I land up.
No, you don't.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, David, you're pretty calm too. Like, you be having some conversations with your boy too. Like, my dad didn't learn sentences until my sister was born.
Like, I will say this, man. Like,
see what you did there.
The screen does not do any of us any justice for our audience. Jubilee's even more radiant in person, and Doc and David are tall men, ladies and gentlemen. So imagine tall ass David Castillo. I mean, he's tall. He is not a small man.
Massive.
He's a tall ass Mexican with that like quiet kind of eerie demeanor as he looks at you.
Very intimidating.
Yeah, man. Like, this man knew how to run a school. This man knew how to run a household. Like, that cold, quiet demeanor man, it'll strike you. It'll strike you, man. Like, yeah, man, maybe but do you get upset, David? Because honestly, I think that your quiet demeanor.
David can just say, "I'm disappointed in you," and crush you.
Correct.
I don't want to disappoint David.
Oh, I get upset for sure. Yeah. Exactly when that happens. Yeah.
I'm gonna allow us to close out the show because we are already at 54 minutes.
Listen, if we got rid of 20-minute check-ins,
I'm bringing it back.
This is great. I love it. It's just a 20-minute check-ins. That's why.
Yeah,
you just let it go, huh? It wasn't the check-in.
Listen, David is the one that pointed out this time. That's all I'm saying. It came from the beard.
I like this sweater, Charles. This is a
beard and knowledge, baby. Yeah, hey, I said exactly.
Why are y'all so shocked when I dress decent? Do I just dress like a hobo?
Hell no, man. That is
they're like, and you look like an adult today. Like, you put clothes on, you heathen. Thank you. I'm sorry.
You heathen.
That's like when people be like, "You're so well read. You're so well spoken."
So I've gotten that one so many times. Oh, you're one of them good Mexicans.
Because we're part of the blacks. Okay.
I love it. Y'all are hilarious, man. Go to Final Thoughts, man. This is funny now. I'm having a good time.
All right, everybody.
That's lighting up for Charles. They said Happy Valentine's Day, Charles. Love the haircut. Look at that.
And I love them. I love Toya. Toya is probably my favorite person on the planet right now. So yes, I love Toya. And Nick just know me, and that's she know I ain't celebrating no damn Valentine's Day, but it's okay. It's good. Right there. And Bill Conrad, I saw that I have an email from you. I promise you I will check it. I got you. people are using this as a way to like get messages and emails through Omar. Can you talk about? Look, Bill is like, and I sent you an email. Like, what is that?
man. It's like the creative way of people getting served and shit. They're like dressed up as like a candygram, and they're like, "All right, you're served." Like people just try to find us and shit over our show.
Oh my God! See, listen, David is gonna have to give us all a stern talking to. I'm telling you, like, get back on focus. That's all I'm saying.
We're good.
Look at David.
Right.
David is disappointed. Okay, like, come
Hold
on.
on. We might have a guest here on the podcast for my closing thoughts. Hold on.
Okay,
An actual young person. So
that'd be great.
Oh, all right. I love it. All right. So
let's go.
closing thoughts,
So
ladies and
the
gentlemen.
question is like from the perspective of a young person, like what do you like about technology and what do you not like about it, right?
Okay. I like this. I like
Something
this.
that.
Well, we'll tell us when you're
Yeah,
ready,
let
and
me,
we'll
Okay, here
go
we
from there.
Have them close us out.
Yeah, Jude,
What's the what
what's your
was
final thoughts?
my final thoughts is make the children work, make the teachers work. I mean the smart work, the productive work, there's productive struggle, and continue to
All
utilize
right, can you hear us?
technology as a tool.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
You know,
I love when the kids come in. Jude, we got a kid coming in. Let's do it. Let's go. Just for the record, young man, in my mind, you are still 5-6 years old in the picture that I use with your father. I don't acknowledge this beard and mustache thing, but continue. Good to see you, young man.
It's just me.
Okay, so what do you like about technology, like in general or in school, and what do you not like about it?
Technology.
Like using like Chromebooks, using apps and things like that. Yeah.
I mean, it's a great tool for teaching students, obviously. What else do you want me to say? It's what else?
You feel like you learn better from like good teachers or like good technology?
Good teachers. You can't fully take out the teacher and just use technology.
There you go.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, from what I've experienced, I do better with hands-on learning with my teachers rather than just typing and doing problems on a keyboard the whole period.
Man, that was a perfect encapsulation of all this. Can I ask you real quick, Mr. Castillo Jr., what is it about that interaction with the teacher that's so helpful and so meaningful that you're not getting from the technology?
I get to ask deeper questions that I can't get answers from my Chromebook or whatever.
Mm.
And if ChatGPT were giving you those answers, what do you think would be the difference?
It's, I don't know, just something about talking to an AI versus talking to a human just doesn't feel right. Talking to ChatGPT, yeah, it can work, but I don't feel like I'll learn actually from ChatGPT rather than a human who will go through all the steps with me vocally, like next to me, in front of me, or whatever. It just feels more organic.
Mr. Castillo Jr., don't leave yet. I have a question for you too. First off, incredible hair. Incredible hair, brother. Don't waste it, okay? Like, use it right now. You know what I'm saying? Actually, have to be like, yes, do this as much as you can. But I would say my question for you is, you know, with technology kind of taking it over, a lot of young people are addicted to screens, and only more will be. What do you think is the best way to counteract that, so you all do build up the social skills that are starting to lack?
It's a tough question.
That means it's a great question.
Could you rephrase that a little bit?
Yeah. Basically, we are really over relying on screens right now. People younger than you are they only know screens. They've come up with it, but we're losing valuable skills. That people don't know how to talk to each other anymore. Boys don't know how to go up and approach young ladies they might be interested in. All of these things. So, and again, you're going through it, so it's okay if you don't have an answer for it. But what do you think would help you all develop better social skills?
More hands-on learning, like more writing, less stuff on a big screen, more stuff on like a whiteboard. You can, like, teachers maybe pick questions and then have students answer them out loud. Sometimes in my English class, we do popcorn reading, where one student reads a passage and then another one reads another passage, and it gets you to pay attention more and develop more social skills.
Yes. In Jew, we call that go ahead, you mentioned it earlier. It's a version of
The Socratic method.
the Socratic method. All right, man. It was I loved having him here. Papa David is still there. Omar,
All right.
back to you, brother.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you.
Yeah. Love you.
Jew was proven right in the moment. I had to throw her bell on the Socratic method, and it's young person approved. First off, love seeing your kid. Secondly, I think you are a jerk for reminding us how old we are. I told you, 5 years old, man. How old was he in that picture that we have?
Probably like 6 or 7, maybe 5. I don't know. Yeah, but probably 5.
Wow.
He has
Yeah.
a mustache, David.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Tell him thank you again for all of us, man. That was really
Yeah, he
special.
gets home around this time when the podcast ends. So I figured it was a good time because we were asking this question. So let's hear directly from the stakeholder.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
look, my final thought, I know we were just going through, I'll just quickly close out on my end, is just I'm very grateful for this topic, and I think that these are the questions that we have to be asking. I think that while we are constantly talking about the student and what they're not getting or what they're not able to do, though, I think that also we have to be taking inventory of what these teachers can and can't do and what they're able to operate without. I don't know if you give a modern day school teacher an old school 1995 grade book with where they had to write in the stuff and the triangles and all that stuff, if they could still maintain it. I think that was good for the teacher when it shows the organization skills and all that. You can kind of slack up a little bit with Google Classroom. You ain't got to be as on top of, your grading and things like that. And I think one of the problems we've been seeing is grade inflation and grade illusion, which we've been writing about and talking about, because there's a disconnect between that grade and what's actually being learned. And I think if we make that reconnection, technology will just be something that enhances. But right now, education's so vulnerable that I think it does have the potential to take it over fully. So we got to stop that, though. That's a failure of us as humanity. So I'll stop in my plane there.
Oh yeah. I think this is, man, your son did a spectacular job of putting it into synthesis what the overall moral of today's discussion was, which is like when he says it just doesn't feel right, that is the millions of years of evolution, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
that goes into why we are Homo sapiens, why we are humans, how we learn, what are the mechanisms in which we learn, the beauty of community, the beauty of communication amongst humans. And that is an integral part of why schools matter and why getting together matters and why I don't think screens are going to solve the whole thing. So on that end, have we all gone?
Jube kind of got
Is
cut
anyone
off
missing
a
their
little
last
bit.
thoughts? Jube. Yeah, exactly. Jube, you're in the middle of your last thought.
Yes. Yeah, I don't remember what the first part of it was anymore, but I'll say this. Teach the children how to work together. That's never going to get old. The collaboration in classroom, and just like we're responsible as the educators and leaders to mirror conditions of the real world. And in the real world, we solve problems together, right? And no man is an island unto himself. With all these different inventions we have, all this different technology, right? Maybe somebody started creating it in a silo or in isolation, but at some point you had to bring that out of an incubator and you had to enlist the support, of other human beings in order to bring that to fruition. So as educators and as leaders, we get to mirror conditions of real world so that our students are prepared when they get out there. And so with or without technology, that still remains to be the truth, that people need people, and we need it in all factors of life.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Queen herself, I am Omar Yanar, as with you always, the doctor, Dr. Charles Cole, our Queen Jubilee Ransom, David Castillo. On behalf of the entirety of the South Star Classroom, we will see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel, with a beautiful dog. Wishing you all an amazing week. Stay safe out there. Peace.